Welcome, McFap family. Welcome to another exciting episode of Hidden Creatures. Today, Raimi and I are doing deep dives into creatures. Raimi, what are you looking into today?
The Tikbalang.
Say that one more time.
Tikbalang.
The Tikbalang. And I have decided to look into fairy circles. So real quick. Number one, please check out the Alabama Take. They are our sort of parent of the family of podcasts that we belong to. They make it so we can do what we do easily. So if you're into like pop culture type stuff, sports, Star Wars, music, books, that kind of stuff, go ahead and pop on over, check out the Alabama Take. I also do another one that's out there, not quite as family friendly as this one, but it is called Punk, Love, and Compassion. And on that one, I interview people within the greater punk community about sort of how they got into punk and hardcore and that kind of stuff, and finding community and the importance of that community. So now we will get into our thing. Rainey, would you like to explain McFap?
FAP is spelled MCFAP and stands for mythical, cryptid, fae, alien, and paranormal.
Cool. Thank you. People can't hear you nodding your head. They can't hear you scowling at me either. Descriptive words. They help. Yes, like Rainey said, that's what McFap means, and we just use the term McFap instead of saying all of those words. But yeah, I don't know, a year, 2 years ago, a while ago, Rainey got interested in that kind of stuff, so I decided to help explore that world with him. And then, I don't know, last fall,
Yeah, I think.
Yeah, we decided to do a podcast, and so here we are today, recording this. Last episode, we interviewed Travis about the property. We've talked about the property in a couple other episodes. He is the first person we've interviewed about it. Got some feedback that may have been one of our creepier episodes. So if you're creepy,
Emu.
then the emu. Yeah, maybe some of the funnier stories too about the emu. So if it creeped you out a little bit, apologize that we didn't give you a heads up on that one first. Our next episode is with Wesley, and that will also be primarily about the property, but with a couple other things in there as well. And that one, yeah, we get a little creepy on that one too, I guess. So just a heads up. But yeah, today, like I said, I'm looking into fairy circles. Rainey is looking into the
Tikbalang.
So, with that being said, if there are no questions, of course there are no questions. This isn't live. You can't ask us questions. I'm feeling a little punchy today. We will get started. Rainey, would you like me to go first?
Yes, please.
You want me to go first?
Yes, please.
Cool. So fairy circles, known by many different terms, but all the terms deal with either circle or ring. So there is the fairy circle, the fairy ring, the elf circle, elf ring, pixie ring, witches circles, witches rings, a bunch of other things dealing with circles and rings. And cultures all over the world have beliefs about these things. Real quick definition of what fairy circles are. In a nutshell, fairy circles are most typically a ring of mushrooms that appear very quickly and then also disappear pretty relatively quickly too. Typically they'll appear like overnight, and then they last a couple days, and then they're gone. Up until recently, until I've had a better understanding of the McFap realm and particularly the Fae, I have always been jealous when I've been, going by people's yards and there has been a fairy ring in their yard, because I've never had fairy rings anywhere I've lived before. So I've always been very jealous and thought I was deserving of fairy circles, and was never gifted with one. until recently. So like last week, we went out in our yard and there was not one, not two. Was there three? Nope. Nope, not three. Four.
Nope.
Nope. Five?
B.
I think there was like 9.
Oh.
There was 9 fairy circles in our yard, all on the same day, of various sizes. I don't know. It may have been 7. Could have been 8. There were a lot. There were a lot of fairy circles in our yard, all of various sizes on the same day. And then over, I guess last fall, early winter was the first time we had a fairy circle, and we just had one in our yard at that point. So I guess that was like right at the beginning of our sort of planning stages to do this.
Yeah.
That's when we got the first one. And it's just a weird coincidence that as I was doing my research for this, a plethora of fairy circles erupted in our yard as I was doing research. Could just be a coincidence. Could be. Or it could be the Fae telling us something. So riddle me that, Batman. Also, today, before I get too far into this, typically when we record, the dogs are outside. Not so today, because it's raining. And so they're inside and they're down here with me where I'm recording. So you may hear them. They may try to climb into my lap. Well, one of them might try to crawl in my laps. The other one isn't really a lapper. The first one really isn't. Oh, and here she comes. Let's see if we can't get a picture of the whole play. Freya, come on. Well, she jumped down. I mean, neither of them are really lap dogs. They're both baby lap dogs, but one will jump up from time to time and try to pretend. So both Freya and Athena are down here with me today, so you may hear them. Anyway, back on topic. Sorry, I got sidetracked. Back on topic. Fairy circles, mushrooms, yeah, primarily in grassy areas. Sometimes can be seen in forests. Okay, we're gonna get into the traditional beliefs about these things. German tradition, thought to mark the site of witches dancing on, and I'm going to mispronounce this word, Walpurgis night, which is Walpurgis. One of the dogs is scratching their collars, jangling.
It's Freya.
Old Freya. Dutch believe the circles show where the devil has set his milk churn. Tyrol, which is Austrian, that folklore attributes fairy rings to the fiery tails of flying dragons. And once the dragon has created such a circle, nothing but toadstools are able to grow there. Yeah, but European beliefs about these things vary widely. However, one thing that most of them have in common is that the warnings about entering or messing with them. Basically, you shouldn't. French tradition reports that fairy circles are guarded by giant bug-eyed toads, and they curse people who violate the circles. Other parts of Europe, entering fairy circles results in losing an eye. In the Philippines, they're associated with, again, bad spirits. Rainey's going to be talking about Philippines a little later, and Filipino beliefs with the Tikbalang. More European traditions, the circles are believed to be caused by fairies dancing. Native, hey, don't, come on. Let's see if we can't get you a picture. Hey, we're taking a picture. We're taking a picture of Tina. Oh, 2 more seconds. There we go. Good talk. I'll go later. Oh, okay. Looking through notes. Indigenous tribes within North America believe fairy rings are created by dancing bison. A Scottish rhyme sums up the danger of these things. And again, please forgive my horrible pronunciation of this poem to come. I'm not Scottish. I'm American. And with that, I've been cursed with a horrible American accent and the inability to pronounce things correctly. So here it is. He what tills the fairies green, na luck again shall hae, And he was spills the fairy's ring, betide him wanton way, for weirdless days and weary nights, and his till his dying day. Be he what goes by the fairy ring, neither dole nor pine shall see, and he what cleans the fairy ring, an easy death shall die, which think I means die. Yeah. Basically, in short, don't mess with the fairy rings. Entering a fairy ring, there's many. I mean, you should never enter a fairy ring, but and I'll get into more of this a little bit later. But entering a fairy ring on either May Eve or Halloween night is supposed to be especially dangerous. Okay, interesting thing when I was doing my research, there was a week towards the end of September in 2023 where fairy rings overtook mainstream media. And I don't know what precipitated this event. I don't know if it was just a slow news week. I don't know, but mainstream media was overtaken by fairy circles to the last week of September 2023. And I just, didn't have time to sort of research what the precipitating event was, but on September 25th, Sci Tech Daily, one of the headlines was scientists discover mysterious fairy circles at hundreds of sites globally. Then on the 28th, CNN reported on fairy circles. And I mean, fairy circles and CNN don't typically go hand in hand there. 28th, 29th, Popular Mechanics. Fairy circles may now exist in 15 countries. The 30th, BBC. Fairy circles, what are they and why do they form? I just find it very interesting and coincidental that these very different news sites, magazines, whatever, all within, like I said, a week time frame, all report on this. Okay, my notes aren't as organized as they typically are. I apologize again. Okay, Scotland. Jumping back to beliefs of these things. Scotland believes that the fairies sit on the mushrooms and use them as tables for their feasts. There's a Welsh story goes that mushrooms were picked by the fairy folk and used as parasols or umbrellas. In Wales, it's also said that the rings signify an underground fairy village. Also, Wales considers the rings as locations of fertility and fortune, and claim that crops grown around them and livestock feeding nearby will flourish. But generally, it is felt that fairy circles are to be avoided as dangerous places for people. If you enter a ring and are not protected, many believe that you will die young. You may also become invisible to the mortal world and unable to escape the ring, or that you are transported instantly into their fairy realm, or like you'll go there, you'll see the fairies, you'll be hanging out with them, you'll be partying with them, and you'll completely lose track of time when you sort of come to your senses and rejoin normal world. Like hundreds of years will have passed. Everybody you'll know will be dead. And once you sort of realize that passage of time, you will just like sort of dissolve into dust as well. You might lose an eye. You might be, like I just said, forced to dance around the ring until you die of exhaustion or madness. So don't do that. And I think a lot of these beliefs about fairy circles were also sort of pulled into The Hobbit when the dwarves and young Master Bilbo are wandering through Mirkwood, and they keep running into the elves parties, eventually with all the dwarves being sort of knocked out and taken prisoner, and then Bilbo having to save them, and then they get in the barrels. And for those of you who haven't read it, stop there. Don't want to ruin anything. You should definitely read it if you haven't. Anyway, to avoid being taken by the fairies and having terrible things happen to you, you can take. There are some very specific things you can do. One, you can run around the circle 9 times, but only 9 times. If you run around it too many or too few, it doesn't work. So exactly 9 times. Also, you can run around the ring during a full moon, and that will allow you to enter the ring with no penalties. But if you run around it, you can only run in the direction that the sun travels during the day. And if you do this, you might also hear the fairies dancing while you're doing running, if you listen closely. Also, to protect yourself, you can put your clothes on backwards or inside out, because that's that, like, wearing your clothes inside out or backwards will confuse the fae, and they won't do you any harm. Throwing wild marjoram or thyme inside the fairy circle can also free anyone trapped by fae magic. And victims can also be saved by the touch of a rowan twig or a piece of iron. Maybe we should start taking some marjoram with us on our journeys. And every time we see a fairy circle, just toss some in, just just in case somebody's trapped. Just toss in some margarine or some thyme and just. And we're saying marjoram, not margarine, like not fake butter. Marjoram is an herb. Yeah, so toss some marjoram in there, and just in case somebody's trapped, we might be doing them a favor. Cool. So there's some rules to interacting with the fae that should be followed. Number 1, do not try to figure out a fae's true name. Knowing a fae's true names are also referred to as soul names. So knowing a fae's soul name basically gives you power over it. It makes it almost like your slave. And so by knowing their name, like, you get a leprechaun give you all of this gold. You get faes to, go get the mail for you, or walk the dog, or clean up your chicken pen, or put your laundry away, or whatever you wanted them to do, they would have to do. And they're not fans of that. In fact, this is where most, like, quote unquote demons come from. It's fae who have been abused and who are now angry. And think about it. Would you want someone else to take away your free will? The answer is no. You wouldn't. So don't do that to the fae. Also, knowledge, like, your knowledge of the fae's name will die when you do. And so knowing that, the fae not being happy with you, making it eat your vegetables for you, or whatever you're making it do, might aid in your passing earlier than what you should be passing, because it's just over you taking advantage of it. So again, if you don't want the fae to be mad at you, don't learn their name. Number 2, just as important as number 1, just flipping the book on this one, is don't tell the fae your true name. And this is something I found interesting and didn't understand in the folklore realm until doing this research, is that the names we go by and our soul names are different. And most people never learn what their true soul name is. But if you ever do, don't tell it to the fae, because then you will become bound to the fae forever. So you dying will not release you from the fae, because they can pull you in and out of that spirit realm whenever you want. So don't tell the fae your soul name either if you ever find it out. And with that, I would say you probably shouldn't try to find it out, because then the fae can never do that to you. The only way to break this enchantment is to either kill the fae, bind the fae to you, or to rename yourself, which is a process that basically starts all of your karmic work over as if you were a brand new soul. And none of these things is easy. So the easiest thing is just don't tell them your name. That's it. Don't do it. Number 3, respect the fae's nature. If you want to work with the fae, you need to develop a basic ground rule, like respect. You just need to respect them. Be nice to them. Maybe give them some presents. But yeah, just be nice to them before you start asking them for things. Don't go into their house and demand a sandwich. Maybe offer them a sandwich. Just be nice. Give them presents. Side note, you should never accept food from a fae. So if they ever do offer you a sandwich, don't take it, even if it's your favorite sandwich. No, don't do it. No good. Number 4, Use protection. Iron, bells, chimes. Fae don't like it. So I think in one of MC's episodes, we talked about people carrying like old school iron nails on them as protection, or like the horseshoes to protect the house. Yeah, so just iron, bells, chimes. They don't like it. Ooh, what was that show you used to watch, Rainy, about the trolls?
Oh, a troll hunter.
No, not
Oh,
Troll
wait.
Hunter. It was about the girl. The
Oh,
girl
Helda.
Helda. Yeah, like in that one, like the trolls really didn't like the bells. I bet this is related to that. Yeah, that was a fun show for you should watch. I think it's the Viking area of the world based.
They also have mention of fairy circles in there.
Yeah, they mention all sorts of like stuff that fall
Yeah.
under the Fey umbrella. Anyway, pretty good show. You should check it out. It's on. What did we watch it on?
Netflix.
Netflix. Cool. It's called Helda. Helda. Right. Hold on. Hilda. Hilda. When interacting with the Fae, ask, do not demand. Going back to number 3, just be respectful. Number 6, always keep your word. If you tell the Fae you're going to do something, if you promise them something, don't go back on it. It makes them angry. 7, going back to what I said earlier, never take food from a Fae. Don't do it. Bad news. Even if it's your favorite food, don't take it from them. No good will come from it. 8, but you can give them presents. They really like presents, and you can give them food. Again, going back to one of MC's episodes when she was living in, I don't know, Scandinavia or Finland or Norway or wherever she lived. She was talking about how the farmers used to put like milk and stuff out for, I think the elves, I believe, so that they would help with like the farm chores overnight. Yeah, they like it. You know, leave out milk, butter, cream, maybe an apple pie, ice cream, something. Just leave out a little snack. They like it. They'll appreciate it. They might milk your cow for you. They might sweep your kitchen. They might, who knows? I don't know. They might do something for you. They'll like it. You're creating a welcoming place for them. Number 9, we'll get a little bit more in depth into number 9, which is warding your property. So if you don't want Fae coming near your property at all, here's what you should do. Number 1, a circle of salt will ward off fairies. Now, this is like if you don't want any of them coming in, but then like you become friends with them, you're like, you know what, little Fae, you can be my friend. You come into my property. You can expressly invite one in, but if you invite that one in, like all of your wards for that one will not work. It's sort of like, you shouldn't invite vampires into your house. Like when vampires can't come into your house unless you invite them in, probably a good thing not to have vampires in your house. It may also be a good thing not to have Fae in your house. So just think about it. Think about it before you're willing to break that ward of protection. But you do you. If you want a Fae coming in, whatever. No judgment here. Yeah, so salt, if you put a railroad spike in the 4 corners of your property, certain stones that contain iron like hematite or red jasper. Going back to the salt thing, if you use like Himalayan pink salt, it's supposed to be more effective than regular because it has the largest amount of iron in it, and iron is what gives it its pink color. And lastly, avoid travel on their days. They are more active on certain days and nights and holidays during the year. So some of those days include like high Celtic holy days, Imbolc, Imbolc, Beltane, Lughnasadh, Lughnasadh, and Samhain. Samhain is also commonly referred to as like Halloween. They're also more active during like the winter holidays of Yule, the 12 days of Christmas, and the couple days I said earlier as well. And then it's also best to avoid traveling on roads by yourself during twilight and at night. So yeah, just a couple things to keep in consideration, take into consideration about fairy circles and how to protect yourself. My resources, I started with Wikipedia, went from there. One of these days I may get good enough for my research where I don't have to start at Wikipedia, but until then I do. it just gives me a starting point. And then, like I said, I work out from there and usually get more detailed information from other places. Also, ancient-origins.net, almanac.com, theeverydayfae.com, pagangreen.com. And this last one I found a little interesting. It was Illinois Farm Partners, and the website is ilfbpartners.com. So yeah, that's what I got. Rainey, any questions?
No.
Are you ready to inform us about the Tikbalang?
Yep.
Go for it.
So the Tikbalang is humanoid with a horse head. It originated as a divine figure in pre-colonial Philippines before evolving into a mischievous forest spirit through Hindu Malayan influences. Standing 7 to 9 feet tall, these horse-headed humanoid creatures possess shape-shifting abilities and supernatural to deceive travelers. Tikbalings are most active during hot daytime hours and moonless nights, often found near belay trees and crossroads. These forest spirits use their powers to confuse and lead travelers astray, particularly in rural areas and mountain forests. The legend serves as both a cautionary tale and a symbol of Filipino indigenous beliefs about nature and environmental preservation. The Tikbalang's mythological roots trace back to pre-colonial Philippines, where the creature emerged from a fusion of indigenous animalist beliefs and Hindu Malayan influences. The Tikbalang's most striking feature is its equine head, perched atop an elongated humanoid body. You'll recognize this mythical creature by its intimidating stature, with legs so long they sometimes tangle into themselves. Its body is covered in coarse, dark hair, while razor-sharp claws extend from its fingers and toes. A Tikbalang possesses mystical attributes that make it a formidable entity in Filipino folklore. You'll find that it can become invisible at will, manipulate the environment to distort travelers, and even transform into a handsome human to lure unsuspecting victims when you're in its territory. The creature's eyes glow like embers in the dark, and its spine-chilling laugh echoes through bamboo groves and remote forests. And Visayan. You'll find tales of Tikbalang's dwelling near ancient ballet trees, while Tagalog versions often place them at crossroads after sunset. Some of the most intriguing superstitions come from rural communities, where locals shared stories of Tikbalings leading travelers astray by making them walk in circles. In paganism, you'll hear accounts of these creatures transforming into handsome men to seduce young women. Modern urban versions depict them haunting tall buildings and construction sites, showing how the myth adapts to contemporary settings. You can still find elders who will tell you about wearing your shirt inside out to break a Tikbalang spell. You can capture Tikbalang's supernatural ability by plucking its golden hair and binding it to human servitude. But beware, these powerful creatures won't submit easily and may trick you instead. You'll find Filipinos traditionally leaving offerings of tobacco near forest paths to pacify these beings. The Tikbalang is also known as the Tikbalang, Tikbalang, or Tikbalang, and my sources are mythicalarchives.com and Tasnopil, Taasnoopilipino. Okay.
Cool. Is that it?
Yep.
Cool. Thank you.
Yep.
A couple things found interesting. Similarities. One is like
Wearing your shirt inside out.
Yeah.
Walking in circles.
Yep. I found that interesting. And also, so Rainey and I listened to another podcast we've talked about a couple times called
Lodge Tales.
Lodge Tales. Thank you, Rainey.
Yep.
And one of the more recent episodes we listened to, was interviewing a guy who had wandered into what they call little people territory and had done something that would potentially upset them. So in order to make peace, he left tobacco. Yeah, so I just found those similarities interesting between Filipino culture and European culture and Native American culture. Yeah, I just find it interesting that these similarities are sort of weave themselves into these things that are not located geographically anywhere near each other. How about you, Rainey?
I also find it interesting.
Have you figured out what your next thing is? No.
No.
Okay. I have a couple I'm thinking about. One is called Dead Water. So I may dive into Dead Water. I may dive into the Tommy Knockers. Yeah, both of those could be interesting.
Oh,
Yeah.
what I'm going to do.
What are you gonna do?
The kaput bird from Maine.
Okay, cool. Well, so not next episode, because next episode we're listening to, or next episode we're interviewing Travis. So the episode.
Wait, next episode. Wait, no. Wait, who's next episode? Wesley.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, we also have a picture from him.
Oh, we do have that creepy picture. Yeah, we'll put that on our socials. Yeah, that one's interesting. The easiest, I think when people will first see it, they'll think it's just a tree.
Yeah.
But it's not a tree. A tree isn't where the thing is in the picture.
Yeah.
So it's not a tree. So after Wesley, the chances are high that you'll either hear about Deadwater or Tommy Knockers or the Puck bird.
Kaput.
With that, check us out on the socials. Most active on Instagram. So on Instagram, it's at McFap_podcast. And again, McFap is MCFAP. Send us an email if you want. We would love to hear your stories. We would love if you wanted to come on and talk about stuff. If you have a story that sort of falls under the McFap umbrella, or if you just want to talk about weird things, we're cool. Come on, talk to us. We'd love to. Our email address is mcfappodcast@gmail.com. And did I forget anything?
I don't. Oh, don't be like the squonk.
Oh, as Rainey says.
Don't be like the squonk.
And as I'm going to start saying, don't pee in fairy circles. Until next time, friends, we are out.